The liberalism that you talk about, Michael, when you say there's a lot of liberalism within the left today, I would not call it that. So the identitarian stuff that you talk about, the narrowness, that is not an ideological hangover of liberalism. That is a very, very active set of people pushing their material interests.
Right.
The left in the United States is fundamentally and overwhelmingly a middle class formation. It is not it's the first left globally, historically, that has no connection to the working class, to the poor at all. People complain that the left is white. Bullshit. That's a second. The left has those non-whites who are in the American left are all middle class too. It's disproportionately white, but it's all middle class, regardless of its color. In that setting, when you're only bringing in middle class people into your organization, a big chunk of them are going to say, we don't want to hear about poverty. We don't want to hear about the economy. What we want to know is when we walk into a room, why are we not treated well? When we apply for the salaried positions at six figures that we think we have the right to, why do we get 5% less than the other guys? That's what the middle class on the left wants to hear about. It will dress it up in all sorts of historically powerful language and all that. But Adolf Reed has been saying this for a while, and it's only because he's in America that people think this is controversial. In the rest of the world, what Adolf says is just common sense, which is this is a form of nationalist politics. And all nationalist politics has one or the other class character. Either it's a nationalism that's wrapped around the needs of the poor, or it's a nationalism that's wrapped around the needs of the aspiring, emerging elite within the dominated groups. Identity politics is the class instinct of Black, brown, and Asian, yellow, whatever you want to call them, people, and the women. It's not an ideological hangover. It is a very committed and clear set of material interests. And as long as the left remains in the middle class, it will never get out of it.
Welcome to another special episode of RBN Weekends. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, JB? Oh, let me unmute you. There you go.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I couldn't resist because number one, we had a great conversation yesterday.
Yes.
Some wonderful points by you. But another thing was that I think there's some conversations that need to happen regarding these different subjects. And coming from somebody that's also part of a largely disenfranchised community, I think that's important. So good to see you, man.
Yes. I felt like it feels like, and I'm glad we got to be paired up on here because you and I don't get to do that. And I think you helped balance the conversation because I probably would rant a lot more if JB wasn't here. So he helps balance the energy for this conversation, which is good because it needs to be had because it feels like it's the elephant in the room for those of us who aren't white. To me, on the left, because Nick and I in our streams on our Nick and CJ show, we talk about this subject a lot, where it's like we have to go to war, what we were calling the NATO left in that stream. But it's this idea that I see that white media is latching onto, that it feels like they're moving right, and maybe they don't care, or maybe they're not conscious of it. But I have a lot of video and article to break it down. But JB, that overall idea, what do you think? Or have you noticed? I mean, I know the answer to this because we all kind of talk about this, here and there with different things that come up.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall idea of some of the things we talk about is like, wow, I can't believe this white media person said this, or they're thinking this. But what is your feeling on this overall topic of white media sort of shifting to the right?
It feels
I should say white left media. I'm sorry, I should say white left media is what we're talking about.
Sure. It feels like, yes, it's particularly in the white left media. what I like to call the legacy left. But from what I also gather, it's also a class thing. The more working class white left media, ones that are within the economic levels that you and I are, they aren't veering too much different than what we're saying. But those who typically are at a higher tax bracket than us typically start to have less of a sense of urgency. There's a lot of overlap between, say, you and I with someone that is poor and white than someone that is more PMC and white. So they start to sound a little bit more like the Michael Eric Dysons, the Zerlina Maxwells. They start to sound more like the Dr. Jason Johnsons, right? These are the ones that, even though they do have a synopsis and an analysis on race like we do, they typically come at it from the PMC angle. So their sense of urgency is also dulled or skewed versus ours. And they have a lot more overlap with the David Doles, the Mike Figueredos, the Cenk Uygurs, the Anna Kasparians. They have a lot more overlap with them versus those of us who are more on the lower economic rungs, so to speak. So I do think that it is, yes, the white legacy left, as I like to call them, they do. But who also rejects the white legacy left is the poor and working white left. They also reject them too. And they're sick and tired of their BS. And so, but at the same time, we also come from an aspect where we say, yeah, but they're also not thinking of the racial aspect, because for you and I, race and class are intrinsically intertwined. So we especially have an angle where we can come at it and say, yeah, here's another angle you're not thinking about it. Like, for instance, I was talking about Sensei Reed earlier today on my show. How many of these guys are going to talk about this story about Sensei Reed? They're not, because it's not on their mind. And truth be told, I wouldn't expect a lot of even working class white people to talk about it much, because they're not as much as their ear to the ground as we are regarding the transgressions that are committed against our community. And so because of that, they may miss that sometimes, which I don't necessarily fault them. But of course, the legacy left definitely aren't going to cover it, because then that would go against their narrative that they want to uphold. Like, well, we still need police, or yeah, there's white supremacy, but we just have to get to a socially democratic angle or realm. We don't need to go that far. Whereas you and I are saying, yeah, no, we need to burn things down. And not burn things down physically, but burn things down in a different sense, where we actually create a more egalitarian, equitable, equal society. I don't know if that sounds like I'm giving them being more kind, but that's just
no. This is what I meant by adding you to this conversation, because it would probably go a lot different if I started. I would be already raging probably by now. You're adding a layer of for the conversation that is I think for me is greatly needed. what I want to do is piggyback off what you were just talking about. I found the video. This is Dr. Shoot. So on Left Lens, or maybe it was the Black Agenda Report, they interviewed this doctor. His name is Dr. Anthony Montaro.
Okay.
He's a known civil rights sort of person, but he speaks to what you're talking about we have in common with the white worker versus these upper white class people. He speaks to this right here. So I want us to kind of listen to what he says, and we can kind of chime in and move on here. But let's listen to him. This is with Danny Haifong and Margaret Kimberly, both from the Black Agenda Report, in this interview. And Nick and I were reacting to it, but I've queued it up to just hear his part. So let's listen.
Sure.
But there are people who actually say that Black people have less in common, Black workers have less in common with white workers than they do with the 0.1%. That the woke capitalists, among them Joe Biden and so on, are more favorable to Black folk than the working class. Well, besides the fact that it's a distortion, I think it is so limited and narrow in its perspective that you can't develop a tactical position out of it.
You tell me that's not what we're experiencing right now, that the left is finding it very hard to figure out a tactical position because of the exact pairing that we're discussing of somehow Black and brown and other poor disenfranchised workers have more in common with white woke capitalists than other white workers. This is the separation that they're doing with us and Trump supporters. That's it. That is such an eloquent point that he makes here. That makes it strategically hard to develop a position.
You know what? From what it sounds like is people who say that the more PMC-ish white people have more in common with those of us who are Black workers, Black workers and poor, is really missing the point. See, it's like us Black workers and poor have our pitchforks and torches and we're ready to take shit over, basically. Let me watch my language. Take stuff over. And so we're ready. And the poor white ones are going, yeah, we got our pitchforks and torches too.
Yeah.
But then they're trying to say, yeah, you guys don't have a lot in common, even though our goals are really the same. Right? But then they're saying, oh, look at these other guys. They don't have pitchforks and torches. You guys actually have more in common than with them. And we're looking at our pitchforks and we're looking at our torches and we're looking at the white counterparts and we're going, but they want to do the same thing too. Why are we different from them?
And it's like is a brilliant analogy. This is a brilliant analogy. We have pitchforks, like, okay, let's go. And they're saying, no, we're going back to the desk over here. We're like, what? Go ahead.
Yeah. Because it's like, for instance, it's like Max Blumenthal has a pitchfork and a torch, and they're telling us, yeah, we shouldn't go with Max Blumenthal. Or Robert Durden has a pitchfork and a torch, and they're going, yeah, no, you guys don't have anything in common. Or they're looking at somebody like Reef Breland and going, oh, he doesn't have a pitchfork. He has a pitchfork and a torch, but you have nothing in common with him.
It's as if
You know,
economic commonality is not the number one thing. That's
But
what they're
here-
telling us. It's
but here-
cultural. Go ahead.
but here's the thing. A lot of these people who are white and on the left who do share with us our economic commonality,
Mhm.
they'll sit there and they'll look at what we're going through as black people and go, "Oh snap, yeah, y'all do need reparations." Or they'll go, "Oh snap, we do need to defund the police because
Yeah.
the defund police come into my neighborhoods too, and they do the same thing to us, and they're doing it even more to y'all. Yeah, y'all do need to defund. We do need to defund the police, right?"
I think that's
Or
that
the-
quarter of white people, quarter of conservatives that are down for defunding police that might be overlapping in that area that you're describing. They're poor, they're being brutalized by the same cops. We've seen it in that. Remember that Black Panther video that we've played? All of us have played several times. The Black Panther video with the white, I think they're called White Patriots, or I always get them mixed up with somebody else, but the White Patriots, and they're
Young
talking about
Patriots.
you're being brutal. Yeah, Young Patriots. I'm sorry, Young Patriots. So, and it was saying, Bobby, he was saying how y'all are being brutalized by the same police as us. Y'all got the same roaches in y'all houses as us, and capitalists are upper class white capitalists are trying to say we don't have nothing in common with those people. We shouldn't team up with those people. That's what we're being told.
Yeah. The thing is what do you and I have in common with Tyler Perry? The only thing we have in common with Tyler Perry is he's black.
Right. That is true.
When you look at the factors when it comes to some of the poor white working class, we actually have a few more points in common with them. Yeah, they may still have that white privilege, which it truly exists, and they're not poor because they're white. That's true. But at the same time, they're not making excuses for the system. They also want to burn it down too. And the problem is that you got some people that are scared to burn down the system because they eventually want to be the masters of the system. And so they don't want to burn it down like we do. So they say, "Oh, well, you guys have more in common with these people who don't want to burn down the system." When we're like, that's BS. We actually do want to burn it down. So we're going to go with the other people who want to burn it down too. Even though they may still have white privilege. Yes, that's true. But they also recognize that they have white privilege and they don't want to be held special just because of their skin color either. So guess what? They're willing to team up with us. So this is why a coalition is important. This is why the Rainbow Coalition was so threatening to the establishment. This is why the Young Lords and the Young Patriots, when they got with the Black Panthers, guess what? This is why it made it even more dangerous. And so whenever we want to redo that or do a neo version of the Rainbow Coalition, that's also still seen as dangerous because now you still have people who are part of either the new Black Patriots, new Black Panthers, or the new Young Patriots, or the new Young Lords, or just people who are on the left that want to combine their causes with ours in a coalition where you actually have working class white people who are throwing away that white supremacist value, where they're throwing away this transphobic, homophobic, xenophobic, racist type of ideology, and they're realizing that these type of ideologies are what that they push more forward this idea of separation, and they're willing to come together and they're willing to depress and get rid of these things within them in order to combine their powers with ours. They don't want to do that. So now they're trying to say, "Oh, you have more in common with the PMCs." And we're like, no, because the PMCs just want to keep the same apparatus in place.
Right.
We don't want to keep the same apparatus in place. And so it's just keeping the system.
Petty bourgeoisie. The petty bourgeoisie is bought into the status quo because them being petty bourgeoisie depends on the status quo staying in place.
Yeah.
Then how are they going to remain as the petty bourgeoisie and possibly move up? And this is another thing that they do to pair some of the more marginalized groups of the working class, the subgroups of the working class, if there's any. And we're only just talking about these so-called subgroups for the sake of the discussion because workers are workers.
Sure.
But is to carve out a set of things and say, this is why these PMC class of capitalists are your best allies. They tell us who our best ally is because they carve, it's a set of things. Okay, $15 minimum wage. They hate racism. Look, they got BLM in their profile. Like, it's a certain things, and it say that's why that they mix them. It has nothing to do with economics. It has nothing to do with structurally changing anything, because a lot of these petty bourgeoisie, and it doesn't matter what race, with ethnicity. I'm saying, we're just saying petty bourgeoisie because they're all acting to support capital at that point. So their race doesn't matter. They're acting to support the same system at that point. We can listen to a couple minutes more of this because he does further the point. So let's just listen to a few more minutes.
If Black workers have more in common with the big capitalists because they claim to be woke than they do with a poor white worker, then what is Black liberation?
Right. So I want to discuss this point, and he makes a good point. Like, how are we going to strategize when people on the team are capitalists, or these people that's on that side? It makes it hard to have a strategic plan. He's pointing out it makes it hard to have a strategic plan if we're teaming up with the book. Are we not experiencing this very thing with Force the Vote? Are we not experiencing this very thing with Force the Vote, trying to pair up with the professional managerial class left, the boutique left? It's so hard to find a strategic position with people who want to reform the apparatus versus people who are saying the apparatus needs to be torn down and rebuilt.
Yeah. And the crazy part is some people will they will hand-wring about, well, some of these people have some bad views, and it's like, okay, so we can educate them on that. Let's do it.
But we understand we have to stop thinking that is the point. That is not even not you, JB. I'm talking about the thing you said before that. Not the point in educating. That's not what I'm talking about. But the point of teaming up with them is to accomplish the things we do have in common, is what I'm saying, JB. That's the point. And we believe, RBN, and this is what you were articulating right here, JB. We believe that pairing, that coalitioning to do the things we do agree on, conversations about the other stuff will rub off on them. They'll go, oh, this person who has this economic thing that's in common, I'm working side by side so we can fight the system. You know what? He was Black. She was Black. That person was Black. So, man, how I thought Black people were, they're not really like that now that I'm working with them to achieve this totally non-racial issue, this totally non-culture issue. We're just attacking economics. Now I have the ability to see past whatever barrier that was there. That's all to me. That is going to be the empowering thing that people and I think it's intentional by the people who want to keep us divided. Yeah. Because anything, and I did this in the stream before. I forget the name of the show, but it's a show. Somebody in the comments will probably bring this up, but it's a show where they bring together people of opposite views. They don't tell them what it is, and they bring them together, and they just have a conversation, and then they'll bring up, sometimes they bring them and they do know. I think the last one I played, they do know. It was Christian people, and then the other one was like people who want gay people, for people that gay marriage. That's what I'm trying to think. Was it gay marriage? Yeah, it was gay marriage. And they brought them together where Christians believe in, you have to be a man and a woman makes a marriage or a family. And then there was people who were saying, no, I believe you should, be able to marry whoever you, and just, you have that barrier, but to come together and sit down and have a conversation Not necessarily only about the topic, but just you're talking to see, wow, that what I thought of black people just raging, what I thought about trans people of being like this, really just having a conversation. They just like regular people, and I disagree on this thing. It makes, you get what I'm saying? It gives the opening for understanding, is what I'm getting to. All that long thing I just said is just to get to that point. It gives the opening to understanding, and that is key to divide and conquer. A divide and conquer strategy is that you gotta put a barrier up to understanding between the two people you're trying to divide.
Yeah.
So sorry if I ran it on there, but let's play this video and then we'll get to this is not even the presentation here.
Oh, okay.
Speak left. It's a shame, CJ, that, and this is very important that he had to say this, right? It's very important that we come on these shows and we have to explain why it's a horrific idea to join a violent capitalist imperialist institution like the Democratic Party. But we have to say it. Like Anthony here has to break down why it's ridiculous to be a worker movement and join hands with the capitalists. Like, these are very simple concepts.
I'm going to stop it there because I feel like I'm going to keep going with this video because that's an awesome point that relates to what we're talking about here. Because essentially what we have in the main topic, and then I'll get into some announcements before we actually talk. But what we have in the main topic is that, you know, working class people have decided to team up with capitalists, and those capitalists are hitched to a imperialist capitalist party, and it's not working out for us. It's not working out for marginalized groups, and you can just list, you know, the whole list. It's not working out for any of us.
Yeah. While
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. While some of them truly believe in our cause socially, when it comes to helping us economically, it's peanuts at best. And so they're willing to go only so far over an extremely long period of time in order to achieve these gains. Whereas someone who we may have some disagreements with, they want to change the system from the ground up now. And when it comes to the educating, that's something that we have to be willing to do. And in that educating people, we can humanize ourselves. They can see us as more human. They can see us as just people living and trying to go through the human experience just like them. Like, for instance, and I'm not referring to people who are trying to actively get rid of people who are in disenfranchised communities. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who may just have disagreements and they do not realize that they are pawns of the ruling class, the oppressor class, in order to keep us divided. And so the reason why that they don't want to is because they really don't know anything about those of us who are disenfranchised. And so once they actually get to know us, then they're more sympathetic to hearing our plight. And the fact is that we have this overlapping urge to want to rebuild the system from the ground up. And so then they start to see, the homophobia that I was exhibiting is just a divisive tactic in order to keep me divided from this guy in order to achieve something that we both need. And so that's one of the things I think that is important. And the thing is that these same people who they say, these PMCs that they say that we have more in common with, yeah, they may have a rainbow flag or say, love is love. But at the same time, when it comes to actually giving us true healthcare for, say, someone who's trans who needs gender confirming surgery or medications, they're not willing to actually push or fight for someone to actually have a healthcare system that would give it to them so that they won't have to have crowdfunding in order to have these surgeries done. And then they just don't care. And they'll just say, well, maybe next time, maybe in 4 years, maybe in 8 years, maybe in 16 years, we can actually get it done, when they're not really willing to rebuild the system because they want to stay in their little gated community, and they actually don't want to fight for it because they don't want to rock the boat too much, even though the rest of us want to tip that boat over.
That's a great point. And this is a great point from Edward. White left media moves to the right when they get corporate money. And that is a great point. So let's get into a couple of announcements, and so we can get into the main topic here, because there is a lot to cover, JB. There is a lot to cover. We may or may not get to all of it because we do have a meeting later today, but if we do, we will. If we won't, we won't. So that's kind of how it goes. So we're at about 150 likes. Now, you don't really get JB and I together 2 days in a row. So let's up those likes. We got 150. Let's go ahead and add another 100 to that. Let's get to 250. Plenty of people watching to do that. So 100 more likes, and that'll get us to 250. Another thing, JB, this was the count. The last time you and I did the show, we realized we hit 28,000. We've jumped quite a bit also again. Oh, pretty decent amount here. So just since the last time you and I were on here, we've already added another 181 people. Wow. So now we're at 28,182. So if you're watching brand new and you just subscribed, welcome. You're one of the people that got us to 28,000 and now onward to 29,000. And our goal for 2020 was 30,000. So that's what we're still running on for these numbers. Another thing, we have a Substack. We will be writing op-eds soon, maybe in another 6 to 9 months, once we get our community or chapters up and running. And that's the next thing I'm going to talk about. So Substack, join if you want notifications when we go live. Also, if you want access to our Discord, there's 2 ways. If you're a Patreon member, you pay a monthly service. We send that link out every so often. And also for the free version for people who may not can afford a monthly Patreon subscription, we have a free version. Just join our Substack and you'll also get sent that Discord link. And remember, we're pushing to 250, another 100 subscribers. The other thing is our website is up. So make sure you check out the website. There's still edits we're doing, but it is up for you to go check out. At least let us know if there's any glitches. That's the email, our new email. You can stop using our Gmail. This is our new email account. So if there's any glitches, please email us to notify us. But meeting again with the web designer to do some more editing to the chapters. We want to add some more information. Right now, it just essentially says coming soon, but I can read it. Revolutionary Blackout will be launching local chapters in 2023. The founding chapter locations will be in Boston, Massachusetts, or Orlando, Florida, Detroit, Michigan, Kansas City, Missouri, Los Angeles, California. Get connected to learn more about the launch and endeavors of each chapter. So that's just some other items you can look at on the website. Check it out, and I can take that down now. So let's take a couple of comments, JB, and then we'll get started into the main topic here. So I'll put up a couple of comments, or if you find any also.
We have We have super chats that are starred.
Oh,
So
I did not
yeah.
even know. So let's do those then. Let's do those. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I got you, bro. All right. Media Dream says Reverend Annie Chambers was talking about it on S and Slow News Day. Okay. Thank you so very much for that, Media Dreams. Also, Marcus Pfeiffer says, check out the Second Thought, Hugo Pinnick and Marx's Paul. Second
So let me
Thought
keep
is
that up there. Oh, go ahead. I didn't know you were. I thought you were gonna go.
Well, I'm saying Second Thought is actually a really good channel. They're like 1.4 million subs right now. But JT actually does a lot of great condensed, about 15-minute videos about different thoughts. Not thoughts, but different analysis and lessons on socialist thought. And so I recommend especially Second Thought as a great channel to subscribe to. Sorry, go ahead, CJ.
So I'm just gonna say full disclosure. I use Second Thought also. There's a bunch of streams I've used Second Thought. Like one of them was how the left facilitates the moving of the right. It's basically the ratchet effect I covered. I used him. Also Marx's Paul. So if you go to our series, I Am the Revolution, the episode of Why Communism, Marx's Paul video is used there. But what I mean by full disclosure, somebody has mentioned this in the chat before that Second Thought is some sort of CIA cutout. Somebody has said that, so that's why I'm passing that on. Even though I've used them, I'm passing that on as somebody has said that before in the chat. So go ahead with the next one, sir.
Okay. All right. That's
I don't like. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just simply saying I don't want to conceal that from anybody. Since I know that information that somebody has said, I want to pass it along and make sure people are fully disclosed.
Okay. Thank you so much. Zoya is also in the chat. Good to see you, Zoya. Zoya says evidence suggests it was planned in Florida where Bolsonaro.
Oh,
is
sorry.
now.
I started that because I saw that wasn't sorry, but yeah, something is happening in Florida. Bolsonaro, you know this. Bolsonaro's like walking around or something like that, or doing something.
Yeah, he's in my city. With his tail between his legs.
Yeah. So I started that because Zoya had brought it up, and it was something else she brought up too. If you want to click on a couple of those other ones too.
Okay, I don't have that start, but I'll get to that. But
do what you do.
Yep. Let me see. Brian says, "I live in the suburbs of New York, and people here are rightly terrified of the cops." Yeah, it's true. Goth Cactus says, "Yep, JB, they just virtue signal for their own ego," and that's what the PMCs do. They virtue signal. They really actually want to help us when it comes to our liberation.
They got the language down pat. They got it down pat. They got to speak. They got to know what to talk about. They got it, but they never want to strategize to get it. Never. No. It's never a strategy or plan effective to get it. So go ahead.
Yep. Great point, CJ. Also, Christopher says capitalism is not the problem. The Federal Reserve is the problem. Money out of thin air. I'm going to say this. CJ, you already know.
Christopher's not gonna like it here. Christopher's not gonna. That first sentence, capitalism is not this problem. You might as well get out of here.
Christopher, welcome to RBN. So good to have you. Look, I'm gonna let you in on something really quick. You see, CJ and I, we're very melanin abundant. Okay, so you want to know one of the reasons why they actually instituted chattel slavery? It's because they wanted free labor, and so they brought our ancestors here to this continent in order to work for free labor so that they can build themselves up. That free labor also means that they are lowering the costs so they can increase the profits so that they can live more opulent and better lives than everybody else. That is the tenets of capitalism. Capitalism is one of the reasons why we had chattel slavery. It's one of the reasons why we have white supremacy in the Western Hemisphere. It is one of the reasons why we are disenfranchised as much as we are within this country. So when you say capitalism is not the problem, I'll tell you this: capitalism is a problem. Capitalism is also one of the reasons why that we also have our government running away with money going to the military industrial complex like we do. It's one of the reasons why we don't have health care adequately in this country. Capitalism is one of the reasons why we are literally committing imperialism and killing little brown kids in other countries just so that we can give more money to the military industrial complex. Capitalism is one of the reasons why there's a proxy war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Capitalism is the problem. Have you subscribed yet? I recommend you subscribe and you come and learn from us a little bit more. Welcome, Christopher.
Actually, he subscribed because you have to be subscribed to even comment. So that's how I usually set up. But all right, so I think we were coming to the end. I did all the comments. Do we have any more super chats? There we go. Or another super chat. There we go.
Yeah. GV Black says, urgent breaking news, support RBN via recurring donos, engagement on the mainstream billionaire apps, etc. And obviously, tell all your friends. So
awesome. Now I'm gonna loop back to that in about 45 seconds. But first, let's go over the cover art. So one,
this is funny.
Aaron did this. I didn't make this because usually I make the thumbnails for the live streams and then she does the clips. But I asked her to do this one because I knew she would do a beautiful job.
Oh,
that is an awesome. That is an awesome thumbnail.
Oh gosh,
that Aaron came up with, and I say that, and we're going to talk about the people in it. So I'm going to come back to this, but we got to make sure we're taking care of Aaron. So make sure this is an ongoing thing that we're going to be doing. Where we're raising money for equipment and labor because we have Erin. We want to make sure we pay her adequately to what she feels like she is worth. So we need help to do that in Cash App, and we got a Venmo. Forever Mutual Aid for those listening is our Venmo. Forever Mutual Aid, very easy to remember. And then for our Cash App, very easy to remember. Just reverse it. Mutual Aid Forever. So donate what you can. It all goes to support getting equipment for future citizen journalism, and also for some of our for our employee. We only got one, Aaron, and the beautiful work she does, like here, and some of our other clips that she puts up.
Hey, CJ, can you put that overlay back up?
Yeah.
Okay. This thumbnail is serving me. I see white people.
You telling me it has like that movie Us? What's that movie that came out? Is it like that Us feel? Like that Us feel? Is it the movie called Us? Anyway, I'll come up with a different analogy. But let's bring the thumbnail back up now. Let me go through each person, and you can chime in, for each person. Also, let's start in the top left. That is David Dole from The Rational National, and if you look at content of his from several years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and you go and look at the content of his, just look at a good 2 weeks of content 3 years ago, and then look at a good 2 weeks of content last month. It is a stark difference. And I'm going to put it back up once we get to the next person. But, and one of the people, so Tom Hartman was one of the more of the progressive, because I started my progressive sort of journey on radio, listening on radio first. So Tom Hartman, and then I sort of moved to YouTube, and Rational National was one of the handful of people that I used to listen to or watch or whatever you want to refer to. And it is just not the same person. The way he used to critique Joe Biden before the whole, bend the knee, Bernie Sanders bend the knee, and how they just completely shifted was completely different the way they speak about him now. So What do you think if you wanted to? You don't have to chime in for each person if you want, but what do you think about David Dole if you know anything about him?
The what can I say? I mean, it's funny because he is, of course, Canadian. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, allergic to BS. So the problem is that you will get, this is what you Americans should be doing. And while I'm not against talking about other people's governments, especially when they're doing terrible things, because really the United States government has an influence on all other Western governments.
Mm-hmm. True.
My thing is he's telling us to bend the knee to people who wish to do us harm. And he's not actually talking to those of us who are saying no to that harm. And it's people like him that'll say, well, Joe Biden is the lesser evil. They keep saying the lesser evil. He's basically saying, don't drown. Say, don't die by fire, just die by drowning. And that's what it feels like to us. And a lot of them, one of the things they said was, who would you rather have a fight with? Would you rather have a fight against Donald Trump, or would you rather have a fight against Joe Biden? They said, they would say, I would rather have a fight against Joe Biden. Well, how has that been working out? Because we have actually said that's not going to work. Because as soon as Joe Biden gets in office, what are you all going to do? You all do this. That's what y'all do. And that's what has been done the entire time. And even so far as much, the progressives, they're even applauding Joe Biden, even though he governs just like Donald Trump. And so there's really no difference between them. So even the lesser of two evils, there is no lesser of two evils. They're both still evil. So as far as David Dole is concerned, yeah, your political analysis is really shot because you don't listen to anybody who's disenfranchised like us. Marco. Joy is revolutionary, Marco, so.
All right, so let's go. Actually, there is one more. I don't know if you read this. Maybe you did, and I just was looking at reading something, but there was this super chat. Did you read this one?
No, I have not.
Okay,
Alfie's...
so really appreciate the critical analysis rooted in solidarity and liberation. I teach ethics studies in California. In the same, this system ain't normal! Exclamation point. Thank you, Alfie.
Thank you,
Mendo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alfie Mendo. So I think that was the only one, and maybe there's the sticker here. Thank you, Barbara. I'm not sure that one was displayed. So go ahead.
There was a $10 one that I don't think that I got. That I think we might have missed. Let me make sure.
So if you did send one, we're gonna search through the chat. Oh, there, you already found it. There we go.
Delthea, so good to see you. Delthea says, "Leftist media, it's leftist bestest when the Dems are in the wilderness. When Dems are in power, all of a sudden, poor folk don't need decent wages or health care." Yeah, it is easy to be a revolutionary when the right is in power. But when the left, when the Democrats are in power.
That's good. Good correction there, sir.
Yeah, because I was like JB, right there. But when the Democrats are in power, then everybody's like, well, what's your problem? The Democrats are in power. And it's like, that's our problem. they're in power and they're not doing a damn thing. That's our problem. So yeah. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so we got a couple more since
Oh, Rob
Oh!
in the building.
no.
I was watching. I was like, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Dealing with the kids. So yeah, I'm like, let me hop on this real quick.
Cool.
Right on.
I got a couple more super chats before.
Okay,
you,
right on.
Rome,
We
you get
just getting
your
started
thoughts
too.
in.
We didn't even get started yet.
Yeah. So Marcus Pfeiffer says in Trump's 4th year, we almost had a revolution and we exposed the state abducting protesters in cars without license plates. That's a really good point, Marcus. That's a solid point. Thank you so very much. And yet, guess what? Nobody's like, how many people are talking about the kids in cages besides us? Nobody.
They gave up on them. They
Yeah.
gave up on them just like they gave up on us. Like they gave up even the migrants that was in AOC district. She was like, yeah, fuck all that. Y'all gotta leave. Y'all making me look bad.
Yeah. Like who's holding on to Title 42? Joe Biden. And guess what? Nobody wants to, who's talking about Title 42 under Joe Biden? Nobody. So it's like crazy. Louise Brooks says forced to vote was a great unmasking of fake progressives, both elected and on YouTube. Louise, thank you for that. Louise coming in with the assist. Oh, baby, the kid's on fire. So, and then
Oh wow, we got more coming in. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta let us get started here. But
yeah, we got it.
Y'all gotta let us get started here.
Yeah, this will be the last one, and then we'll start the rest, and we'll read the rest next time. This title says it all. What a realization! This verb is strong, so obviously true. What happened to the white left media? Yeah. And any other ones that come in, I'll read those in a little while.
Yeah.
I'm going to star them, but we got to get to the stories.
We'll keep track. Yeah, we'll keep track.
I'm trying to tell y'all, these people are white supremacists. They are just quiet with their white supremacy. They don't want to sit here and tell you that, okay, look, I want to uphold America. Like, I know the prison, we can reform that. We can reform a couple of things, but capitalism, I like it. They don't want to say that out loud. They have no intention on actually having a revolution or even speaking on it. Because shit, you know, if I was if I was in politics for more than 20 years, 15, 20 years, talking about the same shit, that should drive me crazy. I'd be like, you know what, y'all niggas just throw this. Like, you still in the same spot that you was in when you first got in politics. That's not a coincidence. You know, you're there for a reason.
Absolutely. I think we can start here. I mean, we can just kind of go back to and chime in on the graphic really quick for everybody that wanted us to finish this up. I would just kind of go through, and then I'll let all of you. We can all kind of go through. So Jordan Sheridan. Let's take Jordan Sheridan and David Sirota together, and because they're together, let's do Ryan too, because they're classified together because they're all reporters or quote unquote journalists. And the reason I thought they should be on this, the lost whites of media, is because of it's the same reason. It's just that they're using their journalism as the, I'm down for the cause. They're using that. Now, they're using it in a different way. Like Ryan Grimm is using it to literally sell lies. He's literally trying to sell lies. He's more of the establishment. I'm in writing, frequently writing articles to help the squad, frequently jumping in tweets to help the squad. And then you have Jordan Sheridan, who's more of the white savior journalist who needs to get praise because that's really the reason he's really only doing this. Because there's a lot more that a person in this position can do for the people he's reporting on if he was a person that really cared, in my opinion, about those people. And then you have David Sirota, who plays, to me, the most sneakiest role. And that's the role of, I'm uncovering all of what Democrats is doing, these scumbags. Look at them, this, receipts. And then right before November 8th or whenever the election is, he opens the trap door to the Democrats at your doorstep. You get what I'm saying? It's like that's so to me, that's why I bunch them together. But to me, if you're staying with the Democratic Party after all of what's happening, and you're a journalist and you're still sort of writing your journalism and geared to say give them a good light, to me, that now makes you like you're passe.
That's why I say this movie is bullshit. Like it makes no sense.
Okay.
To have all of this information, you know what I'm saying, and to even share it with other people, you know what I'm saying, awakening people, we should say, and don't do anything with that power. You're just like, yeah, the government is bad, but don't overthrow it. Yeah, they trying to kill you. They are neglecting you. They're neglecting climate change, but don't overthrow it. That's just crazy talk. Yes, we have more people locked up in the world than any other country. Yes, we give more money than the military to the military and the police, but don't. Like, what the hell is you doing, man? Like, it's either a cash grab or some CIA shit. Because ain't no way you got all that information and you just like you're telling the people not to revolt. That's what it should. The end of your movie should have been people overthrowing America.
Okay.
To the scientists.
I got something for y'all. Here's some of these guys right here. Some popcorn. I hate popcorn. Oh my God. Oh, this popcorn sucks so much. Yo, don't eat this popcorn. But we have nothing else to eat. But I can't stand this popcorn. It's too salty. It's too crunchy. It's too chewy. But what else do? We have nothing else but to eat this popcorn. And then we come over with a bowl of grapes. Why not some grapes? No, this is all we got, man. You know, the grapes, they got liquid in it. It's going to make me pee. I'm sorry. No, I can't. What are you doing? The problem is, guess what? They're saying that they don't want the popcorn, but yet they keep chewing on it. It's like David Sirota keeps going, this popcorn is horrible. Don't eat this popcorn. And yet he still keeps eating it. And we're like, okay, why don't you just get the grapes that we're trying to offer you over there? Yeah, they may not look that great, but guess what? They're good. They're healthier for you. No, we can't do that. We got to keep eating the popcorn, even though I hate the popcorn. It's like, do you actually hate the popcorn, David? Or are you just trying to tell us you hate it just so that it's almost like a reverse psychology. I hate the popcorn, so you guys shouldn't eat it.
Well, what it does, it gains trust. What he's doing, Marianne Williamson does this too. It gains trust to pretend to be doing all and saying, oh, I'm doing this. It gains trust because then people will go, I trust him. And if he's saying at this juncture, yeah, the Democrats are terrible, but we should vote for them, then that's what I'm going to do. It's all about gaining trust so you can wheel some people in. You can't get everybody. Go ahead, Ron.
You're not wrong, because I seen people say that exact shit on Twitter. Like, you think he's a bad guy, and look at all these people he called out. He called out the Democratic Party. We can work with them and hold them accountable type shit. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. I know y'all wish it was, but it's not like that. You cannot work with these politicians and hold them accountable, because the politician, come on, man. What are y'all doing to actually hold politicians accountable? Expose them on Twitter, ratio them? Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Are you actually exposing their war crimes? Are you actually whistleblowing some shit that nobody know? How are you exposing them? How are you holding them accountable? In what way? Do they fear you? If they feared you, if they feared the proletarian, they would have gave us health care. During the pandemic, they would have gave us housing. If they feared us, if we was actually holding them accountable, if y'all was doing your motherfucking job, we wouldn't be in the spot that we are in today.
Yeah. Hey, Rome, I'm gonna say something, and I know you and CJ are gonna agree, but I'm gonna say something, and some people they haven't heard it this way before. Just because you criticize or call somebody out doesn't mean you're still not loyal to them.
Look at husbands and wives and cousins and whatever the fuck relationship over there. Nah.
just because you call them out doesn't mean you're still not loyal to them. You can say, oh man, this person, like, look, I can be like, man, I can't stand Rome's behind. Rome does this, Rome does that, Rome does that. Next thing you know, but guess what? I'm still slipping, some money your way. I'm still giving, I'm still doing things for you. And it's like, yeah, I can talk bad about you, but I'm still loyal to you because I'm still doing everything I can for you.
Yep.
Right?
Still
the thing is, like, do I really feel what I'm feeling? Because it's just like, a man who talks about how unattractive he is to his wife, yet he still goes to bed with her every night. Oh man, my red is so ugly, I can't stand her behind. Next thing you know, they clapping cheeks. I thought you were unattracted to her. Well, what am I supposed to do?
That's my wife. I've been with her 20 years. I've been voting for 30 years.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do? She's my
What
wife.
Do you guys get how they're tying the?
But you
don't want her no more, but yet you still
weaving it
clapping
back
cheeks.
and forth.
What they say? Oh, this is what's your alternative? What you want to do? What would you do? Like, I want to do this.
leave her trifling behind and then get with somebody else. Even if it takes me some time to get with somebody that's better. But yet they don't want to do that.
Let's bring in some of the other people. So we talked about the journalists. Let's add in the couple. So the new power couple on the left, they're the Beyonce Jay-Z of the left. They be Beyonce and Jay-Z of the left. Kyle Kalinske, and they literally do videos all the time, like the thumbnail even. Like they do. So let's do it now. Let's go there now. Actually, since I brought it up, so let's go there now. So let's go to Circular Talk. They literally, he uses it. I think it was Circular Talk.
Secular.
Yeah, Circular. Okay, look, they just use them sitting around as their thumbnail.
Petty.
That's it. I know they got another one. Hang on a second here. But anyways, this the most recent one. I don't think this is the most recent one, but this is the Beyonce and Jay-Z of the left that I showed on there. So let's bring them in a conversation.
That's a bad job.
And then and let's also bring in the other couple. It's a different couple. They're a part of the same team. So the co-hosts, Sam and Emma. So let's talk Sam and Emma, Crystal and Kyle. Sam and Emma, Kristen and Kyle. Now, these are some of these four pairing. These are some of the people to me that has moved the furthest left. Well, Ryan is by far, I think, but he was already, moved the furthest right. But Ryan was already right. So maybe he didn't have a far way to go. But these four, Kyle, Crystal in particular, and Sam and Emma. Now you might say, oh, they were already kind of center right. Yeah, they were. But to me, they all have kind of really, really shifted. And you can see in their content on the Ukraine war and their content on the strike, if they have any content at all, any content about all sort of the debacle that we call the progressive Democrats, they all are kind of, swallow their mics when it comes to really talking about some of those issues. So what do either of you have to say about, the new Jay-Z and Beyonce and the other pair? Go ahead, bro.
Not to kick back on what you said or anything, everybody has.
No, go ahead. Do you?
But I feel like they are at where they've been at years ago. I feel like we have moved to the left, and now that we're looking back, we're like, holy, what the hell? Because now you can go back to a Kyle Kalinske video a couple years ago. He was supporting wars. He was supporting regime changes for the safety of America and bullshit like that. Now, when we hear shit like that, we like, because in your lib years, you probably like, no, whatever, this is the best we got. Now you like, as a communist, you like, no, that's some bullshit.
You're talking about what JB said yesterday. It's like, or maybe, I think it was you, JB. Somebody referenced and basically said that, I said it, and I think it was you. I said, it's like they're still in 2008. It's like they're progressives of 2008, and they haven't moved. And to your point, Rome, of you just saying this, I'll pass it back to you. we kept moving, we kept progressing, and they're in the same place of where they're at. It kind of speaks to their material needs too.
Yeah.
Because people who are still suffering has to keep progressing. You have to keep progressing to get through the neoliberal sort of red tape. I'll let JB or Rome or vice versa if you want to chime in at this space for those four that we're talking about now.
Yeah, you said they were stuck in 2008. Now I got that phrase from that song. We're so 2008. You're so 2000 late. So boom, boom, pow. So sorry. But my thing is that is what I think that's part of the problem. Another part of the problem is they just don't see the system as bad as it is because they are comfortable. And so when you don't see the system as bad as we do, then you're like, what's the problem? All we got to do is tweak these other things and then boom, we're good. We just need to be like Germany and Iceland and Norway and Sweden, and we just need to be like these imperialist countries because at least we can get Medicare for all, and at least we can have some semblance of a more representative democracy, even though being comfortable with that is still just as bad. Like, for instance, they have nationalized healthcare in the UK. And yet the UK still does imperialism. So why are we trying to get there? That's like saying, oh man, I'm covering doo-doo. And then you get the doo-doo covered pants off, but you keep it on the doo-doo covered shirt. That's better. I'm sorry, what?
JB with the analogies. Oh man,
so
the analogies.
The thing is that they want everything half behind. I'm trying to clean my language up because YouTube actually doesn't want us to curse anymore. Because if not, then we'll get demonetized. But that's why I said doo-doo. Dookie. But that's the problem. It's like half behind. It's like, half measures. And
man,
so
these people, they are capitalists. They love white supremacy. Look at it this way. They got rich off of your pain. They got rich off of your pain and suffering. Like, we know that we all have learned something. I'd be a fool if I say I didn't learn anything from Kyle Kalinske the little time I did watch him or whatnot. But that's all they doing. They making money off of your pain, off of your ignorance, off of you wanting to learn. We are still in the same place from when we met Kyle Kalinske those years ago, from when we met David Doe a couple years ago. They are rich. They are rich now.
Yeah, they are.
They are capitalists. The reason why they won't move left is because if their life get better, if your life get better, their life get worse. Like I always say, there will be no need for them. There will be no need for a Kyle Kalinske, a David Doe, Crystal Ball, RBN. If y'all had health care, would y'all actually be listening to us? If this is a democracy, would y'all be listening to us? Huh? If we actually had things going on, there would be no need. Mm-hmm. And this they don't want to go any further than what this is, because even being considered a leftist, that's even pushing it. But they're gonna get that fucking money. Best believe that. Every capitalist will.
I'd argue that some people on the left would stop being on the left as soon as we got universal health care, and they would say, "Oh, job done."
Yep. What we call them, healthcare or leftists? Medicare for all leftists. That's all they want.
Yep.
No police.
Right. This is what I was saying earlier. Is a certain set of policies where they just say, okay, now that makes me a leftist just based on a couple of policies. And we all know, climate change, a $15 minimum wage, legalized weed, all the same, about good 6 or 7 of them that everybody kind of on the left kind of overlaps. And they say that makes them Malcolm X pretty much in the United States. Let's add the last person to the conversation, and that's Anna. Now,
Oh gosh.
we purposely put white, specifically white ethnicity, if you use that as an ethnicity or white category, it's a race category. We put those faces, but there are people who aren't white that are part of this same sphere. The Michael Figueiredos that could be on here, the Ben Dixons that can be on here, even Nina Turner, but I almost feel like she either watches RBN or catches the vibe from RBN because she tries to do a little more coverage of different things that white media doesn't cover. I noticed that recently, probably the last 3 or 4 weeks, she's been doing that. But now let's go on the journey, fellas. So this was all really just an introduction. Let's go on the journey of information that I have here, and I'm going to start with this presentation here. So I'm going to show you a couple of headlines first, and these headlines are, to me, what's indicative of the issue of what's going on with white left media. So let me bring up the first thing here. So what is this? This is here. So I'm going to bring up the first headline here. So just a few headlines to illustrate what's happening. How do I get this? Man, this thing on here. Anyway, you can see it there from the Common Dream. Will Congressional Progressive Caucus ever draw a red line? And the reason I say this speaks to it, because essentially what's happening with white left media, what's essentially happening, Rome and JB, is that they've tied themselves to the progressives, to the progressive concept. To just think about Cenk and Kyle Kalinske came up with this concept and and sold everybody on this bullshit. And then all of them have been pushing this strategy. Think about what's happening. Why couldn't we blame some of this on them as being people who to even push this failed strategy, right? So they're coming up against what's this, and that is AOC and the progressive strategy is an epic failure, and people are seeing it. AOC and the progressive strategy and progressive caucus have shown themselves to be sellouts to the worker, but these white left media figures have attached themselves in their whole sort of thing to progressive democratic politics. So if those progressives, the AOCs, the Jamal Bowmans, the Ro Khannas want to be in the good graces to get committee seats with the Democratic Party, guess what they have to do? They have to vote for Ukraine war. They have to vote for the Iron Dome. They have to vote to break strikes, even though their votes aren't needed. They have to do those things to stay in line with the Democratic Party. And then you have white left media who's attached to those same people, who's attached. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like one is dragging the other. The Democratic Party is dragging the progressive Democrats, and the progressive Democrats is dragging white left media to the right.
And then you see one thing that they always say is like, excuse me, they always downplay people's lives. So when, like, let's give an example. AOC sell out to the Iron Dome. Oh, she only doing that so she can have, you know what I'm saying, be open for committee seats or whatever the fuck promises that. You know what I'm saying? Like, people's lives. You know what I'm saying? People's lives. They be talking about people dying in war and shit like that. And they be like, "Oh, she only sold out the people in Yemen for a promise." Like, what the hell? Like, and they don't even see it as a bad thing.
No, and this is what I wrote down. I'm bringing this up. Character flaw. They see these things. They see, oh, he's just, bombing Somalia. That's just a character flaw. That's just a character flaw. It's not like a major thing to them. It's not a big thing. And even Sam Cedar said it in, I think, a debate with Jackson Hinkle.
I don't care.
Exactly. Known for that. And here's another headline. The right played hardball in Congress. The left should take note. Now, get what's happening here, because this goes to the main topic. Get what's happening here. What's happening here is the progressive Democrat strategy is collapsing. Even their own people are having to explain this. Now, this is a Jacobin headline that I'm surprised by. This is Jacobin. They are the magazine to the professional managerial class, and they're even saying the left need to take note. So you have these headlines, you have these things that's happening where people are saying, forget this progressive strategy BS, but they've already hooked their boat to that. The anchor is there. So, and they're deciding to write it out. Here's another headline. Study declares AOC one of the least effective members of Congress. But they're attached to this. You see that? They're attached to this. Do either one of you want to chime in before I bring up the next headline here? Sorry, I've been talking a lot here.
No,
there's one more headline I do want to bring up, and I want to read a little bit of this article here, and I think both of you have seen this, and then we'll get to some of the video we have content of here before we have to get out of here. We got another hour before our meeting, but let's look at this headline. This one is from the Left Voice, and this is what the ideas and debates. The squad crossed a line. DSA members must do something about it. After the railroad workers vote, DSA members must admit that their electoral strategy isn't working. Calls for accountability point in the right direction, but a deeper reflection is required. It's time for DSA members to come to terms with the fact that working within the Democratic Party just doesn't work for socialists or the interests of the working class. And here is where we're separating, where white left media is saying, I'm sorry, but we're at a crossroads, and you can see it. Even Left Voice, I haven't seen them be this harsh on this or say anything this forceful in a while. So you have these entities like Jacobin and Left Voice coming out saying, yeah, but we have white left media saying our whole economic infrastructure here is based on the progressive strategy.
Yep.
Hell, we sold this network. We got $20 million from Katzenberg on this point. So go ahead, Rome or JB, if you're gonna chime in.
Yeah. So my question is, I think I asked this question before. But when is the point where you stop, when you already know that we're getting scammed at that table, right? The person, they're taking the cars, they're going, find the queen, find the queen, find the queen. When you realize they actually took the queen card out and they just been, doing some jacks and kings, right? Throughout the entire process. And you're being scammed. So why are we sticking around to go, oh, maybe they'll add the queen in later so we can actually find it? When do you get to the point where you're ready to flip the table over? It's like, because the thing is, people are like, oh, they crossed a red line. So what are you going to do about it? And it's like, oh, we're going to stick with them. Wait.
The best we got. So while Republicans is trying to cut the defense bill by billions of fucking dollars, giving power back into the committee and the people in the House to vote out power when needed. About time y'all even get anything. The right gonna be out left y'all on down there everything.
Rome, I'm gonna say this, and I don't know, it might get me in trouble, whatever. But you know what? They're sticking to this strategy because they are afraid of revolution.
Yep, they're scared of black revolution.
They're afraid of revolution. That's basically what it is. They're trying to forego, they're trying to delay it as much as possible because they don't want to bring that up. Because they're like, no, that's pressing the red button. And we just can't press the red button. And we're like, yo, press the red button. Press it. Press it. And then they're like, no, we can't press the red button, even though we're about to die. the problem is that they're the ones who are on the boat that really necessarily aren't really about to die, so they're not ready to press the red button, whereas those of us who are sitting in the Arctic waters of the North Atlantic, we're freezing to death. Press the red button. They're like, no, we really can't press the red button because guess what? I'm in this lifeboat and I'm actually kind of warm and cozy right now. And so we're like, press the red button. But they're like, no, we can't do it. And so this comes to a point where now you have people like us at RBN that are climbing up and we're reaching in and we're trying to press the red button. And they're now fighting against us because we're trying to press the red button, even though they're the ones who aren't suffering. That's
Great
point.
So
sorry, but I had to say it.
I don't understand how people still listen to these people. They're not in the same class. They don't give a fuck what actually happens here. What happens to you? You think they care that your grandma passed away? No. You think, you know what I'm saying? You think they care that half of your family caught COVID? No. This is all a game. This is all a money grab. These people don't care about you. Stop listening to people that's not in your damn tax bracket about what you need and what's best for you. Like,
we gotta put that on the shirt. Stop listening to motherfuckers who ain't in your tax bracket.
Like,
You gotta put that on the shirt.
How the hell? Like, that's just like these billionaires. Oh, you can survive off minimum wage. Okay, well, can you? Fuck out of here. I ain't listening to this.
We gotta put that on the shirt. So when you go to our website, when our merch is up, that's the type of shit you're gonna see in our merch shop. Like, you ain't gonna see no generic. You're gonna see shit like that. Like shit like pictures of like the squad and just says these motherfuckers on it, and that's it. Like, that's the kind of shit you're gonna see in our shop. But let me read a little bit of this article. In recent years, folks in every kind of workplace, from Starbucks to UPS to schools, have joined the Democratic Socialists of America. In June 2022, thousands of DSA members descended on Chicago for the Labor Notes Conference. Many of these workers are connected. Many of these workers are connecting the new labor movement to the dream of socialism. I understand the appeal. After all, DSA is the biggest socialist organization around, with an active political orientation towards labor, attracting and including experienced organizers. And in many places, DSA members are willing to get jobs in key industries in order to organize or show up in solidarity with worker struggles, bringing coffee, donuts, and a smile to the picket line. But despite the organization's pro-war rhetoric and many members' activism in the labor movement, last month, the DSA endorsed officials, many of whom are DSA members themselves, joined Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and other Democrats in voting to stop a rail worker strike. All but one squad member, rotating hero, in the House of Representatives, Rashida Tlaib, rotating hero, voted to impose a contract with no guaranteed sick days, and all of them voted for a second bill imposing a contract with just half of the sick days the workers were demanding. Both bills, including the one with sick days, are a slap in the face to rank and file democracy. Workers, not Congress, should decide on the contract. In that sense, we shouldn't support the actions of Tlaib or Sanders either. No member voted on the sick days. No member voted on the 7 sick days, a sick leave, and socialists should always stand with rank and file decision makers. Not one of these squad members came out and said, I'm voting no to everything and starting a national campaign against the Rail Labor Act. Despite being endorsed by or members of the country's largest socialist organization, not one of them came out against congressional interference and workers' bargaining efforts. And I'll stop there. So just to point out, this is what's happening. The ship is moving right. Or we can use Rome's description. We are further moving left because that's what's required to fight these people, to keep moving left. That's what's required. And our white counterparts in left media has simply decided not to do that. What say you, Rome? Go ahead, Rome. Hold on. Let me.
Yeah, because they like, yeah, fuck that. This is what made us us, and this is why I said before, their party will die the day Bernie dies, and I mean the day Bernie is buried in the ground, that movement is over. There is no there. That's all you got. That's all you based your shit on. That's all you base. His shit is gone. So what you gonna do? Is there somebody in a government like Bernie that's gonna at least call out some bullshit? Nope. You got nothing now. Your movement is gonna die with Bernie, and that's why I jumped off of that shit quick as fuck, because I seen that's what they was doing. They made all their money off of him. They whole platforms, politics, podcasts, it's shaped around him. That shit ain't gonna last long. Not too much longer. The nigga down there 90 years old. You better jump on a new bandwagon or something.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people are. I'm so happy that the mask is off of this, people.
You can't be racist.
And I mean the politicians. Sorry. And then which is a reflection on these white left media figures that we're talking about. Look at Ajamu calling out Cori Bush. Fused together, fused together, you wouldn't get one backbone. He's saying,
ooh, damn.
Jeez, I know that's harsh right there.
Hard.
That's Summer Lee. That's Ayanna Pressley. That's Cori Bush. I'm not sure who this is here, but that's AOC and Jamal Bowman, and sworn into the 118th Congress just before 2 a.m. And Ajamu ain't playing. He's saying if they fuse them all together, still wouldn't get one backbone. And that encapsulates what's happening to white left media. They're saying we're standing with these people without a backbone, and everybody else is like, what? And I think, go ahead. I can't see you because I hear somebody.
Yeah, just jellyfish, all jellyfish.
And then we have Margaret Kimberly.
Backbone, but they sure will kill a motherfucker, right? That's a great analogy. But,
well, guess what? We are dying here. So,
and they sure is trying to kill motherfuckers, writing niggas off. But yeah, this is what it's about, man. They can't leave the nest. They can't go too far, man. These people, they never even learn how to fly for themselves, so they damn sure ain't thinking about leaving the nest of, of Cori Bush, AOC, and all them motherfuckers. To keep it real, they're gonna go down. It doesn't matter, bro. Like, how can you find it in your? How can you find any argument good enough to be like, okay, I know that we just bombed. We just funded Israel. We just bombed Africa, Somalia. We're invading Haiti right now, and we're denying their fucking people entry into the country right now. But just to have that butt in your head, that's some psychopathic shit. You writing people off for politicians. Just to have a butt in your head is psychopathic. You writing people off, man. And these people, they're doing their job, man. I don't see them doing nothing else but this. And it's when the Overton window shift, actually, I mean, when the two parties in the government switch powers, these people are going to be pro-war. I mean, they actually already are. I'm against the wars, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'm against criminalizing homelessness, but it's always something. But they just doing their motherfucking job. And I don't see these white guys doing anything but leading people off a fucking cliff and getting money for it. Hold on, let me put this.
I was always told, but separates what's important and what's not important. Everything after the but is the most important thing, and everything before the but. So if somebody says, I love you, but I cheated, you get what I'm saying? Everything after the but is what the person is saying is the most important thing, and everything before the but is the vice versa. So somebody, the audience already read this. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You go to motherfucker. You got butts. I said we bombed Africa, but this is the best we got. That's the best we got. For real. The party of war. You know what I'm saying? Man, I just, this is why I don't necessarily do second chances when it comes to people like this, because we have the same type of information at the tip of our fingers, tip of our thumbs, depending on what type of device you are on. We have the same information, and we actually cross paths. You know what I'm saying? So, and I tell you the truth. I tell you what's happening. You don't believe me at first. You say, "Where's your proof?" I give you proof. You give me excuses. So I don't work with people like that. That's, like I said, that's some psychopathic shit to see, like Joe Biden invading Haiti right now and say, "Oh yeah, we're not letting anybody in from Haiti, Cuba, none of that. Fuck all these black and brown people." Motherfuckers like, but this is
Yeah, that's like burning a room, saying, "Oh, there's a bunch of bugs in the room, so we got to burn it." But you lock the door and leave all the people who are in that room to burn alive. Like, really? Are you that sadistic? And I just want to address to people who are asking, why are you guys covering this about these particular people? Here's the reason why. Because they have such a large platform that they're using their platform to defang and declaw those of us working people so that we acquiesce to the demands of the people who are the accessories to the crime of our government.
We are a counter propaganda intelligence network. That's what we do here. We're a counter propaganda intelligence network, and this is what we're here to do.
I'm not
the
here
left
to
is where it's at. Where the left is where it's at because it's overwhelmingly middle class and white, and that's why we can't win anything. So we're coming in saying, here is the problem. We got too many milquetoast people who aren't willing to fight, but they're just using your pain and your misery and your language to co-opt it and keep you under the guise of reformism. What they want to do, and Marxist Paul talks about this in the video I cover with them, what they want to do is get revolutionaries under the control of reformists. And that's what Marianne Williamson, David Sirota, they go out and take all the non-establishment energy and bring it back for those. Now, we're long lost. They're not getting us. But there are still people who have that urge to be non-establishment, but is not quite there. But let me get through this tweet right here. This is Margaret Quimberly. Yeah. Some people already in the chat has commented on it. Let me read the original tweet. And let me actually, because it's a quote you won't understand. But this week, a group of Republicans extracted concessions from their leadership. No, I don't want what they want. But 2 years ago, the people who did claim to want what I do not only did nothing to help us, but also told whopping lies in the process. I mean, you, AOC. Margaret Kimberly ain't a joke. She ain't got time for that. And this is the quote she quote tweeted. Quote, I think this is from AOC. We are just an extremely slim amount of votes away from risking the speakership to the Republican Party, said AOC, who in the past has been vocal about the need for transition to new leadership, but voted for Pelosi on Sunday. Quote, it's bigger than any one of us. And that's what Margaret Kimberly put up. But let's go through some other tweets. I have a bunch of stuff here. If you want, whenever you want to chime in, I can't see either of you. Just chime in. So I went to that one. Let's go to Kashama's tweet here. And talk about, because this is what a lot of people in the comments was saying. Kashama is the GOAT. Kashama. Now let's read what she's saying. I'm sorry, I keep saying Kashama. It's Shama, not Kashama. When I see that K, it just automatically jumps in my head. Shama, not Kashama. So Shama. It's deeply unfortunate. Unfortunate it was the right wing who've shown how to fight for something in Congress. So she's saying it's deeply unfortunate that it's the right wing who's showing how to fight for something in Congress.
What he's saying.
The squad Also, the Progressive Caucus, headed by Jayapal, have utterly failed, refused to use their leverage to stand up to Democratic establishment and win any gains for working people. And that is just spot on.
Mhm.
Anyone want to chime in on that tweet before I go to the
You know,
next one?
a lot of these bots, I guess they got their little talking points and whatnot. You're like, what would a failed strategy? What would a failed vote on Medicare for all would have done? Nigga, during the pandemic, a lot. A lot. Every time we say Medicare for all, every time we talk about a type of universal health care, because not only this is not something just Democrats want, Republicans, independents want it, non-voters like myself want and need Medicare for all, universal health care. If I would have known that the out of the 181 co-sponsors for Medicare for all, only 18 of them voted yes on it, motherfucker, yes, we would have been up. It probably would have been a riot in so many cities of people wanting to overthrow their representatives. What the hell you mean you didn't vote yes on Medicare for all during the pandemic?
Hey, Rome. How different would this past November would have been if they actually forced a vote on Medicare for all back then?
Man. And I don't give a fuck if the vote was still in limbo today. Fight for something. Or we wouldn't have a speaker. We wouldn't have. I don't give a fuck. We don't have healthcare. We don't have healthcare. She's saying this is bigger than all of us. Nancy Pelosi's job is bigger than all of us. Bullshit. And where's she at now? Where's she at now? She ain't coming back. She like, yeah, I got my money. I'm good. They about to start doing these investigations. Get the fuck out of here, man. He got caught with a dildo up his asshole. So let me get up out of here real quick for all this shit. But yeah, she's gone. She's gone, and we have nothing. Nothing. You guys ain't even. Man, you know what? I would take if I was in their spot. I would take advantage. I wouldn't vote for anything. I don't give a fuck about living or dying. But you got to have that type of mind frame if you're going against people like Nancy Pelosi that will fucking kill you and grill you until she get her way. You do the same shit. You don't cower out just because she has more power than you.
You ever been out anywhere, either of you? I know I have. I've been out. I'm not going to say, did I ever? Yeah, I've been out. You ever been out and a scuffle has broken out and there's one of your homies is unmasked as being a complete piece of shit because he bailed out? You ever been exposed that way? And I feel like the Justice Democrat strategy and white left media has been exposed as the friend who's not gonna throw them hands if you guys get jumped or if you guys get attacked. They're the friend that's gonna go, I'm getting out this motherfucker. They're that friend. Yeah, because what they're doing is they're coming to the fight saying, yeah, they're saying all the right stuff. Yeah, the Democrats, progress, Medicare for all, climate change, yeah. And it's like, let's go fight. And they're going, what? What'd you say? Fight? Oh no. I got a manicure appointment. I can't do this. No, sir. What we can do though, we can set up some picket lines and talk about the Pro-Am Act and get some Democrats elected, some progressives except for Palestine people elected. That's what we can do. So we are discovering or unmasking, or we're seeing the unmasking of people who's not about to throw them hands when it's time to get down to the business. They're not about that. So they're bailing out. They're like, oh no,
they don't even want to call out their favorite politicians. They're not going to fight. They're not going to fight them. They're going to continue to fight us. They're going to continue to deflect all harm done towards the proletarian. Politicians, y'all say y'all hold them accountable, but no, y'all don't. All the failures of these politicians, y'all put on the proletarian every fucking time. We was too mean. Y'all didn't vote hard enough. Y'all didn't do this. Y'all didn't do that. Don't make me smack your fucking dumbass. We didn't do enough. It's our fault. You victim blaming now, for real. Because last time I seen Damn near hundreds of thousands of people out there for Bernie, all across this goddamn this country. He has some of the biggest rallies, some of the most support on the ground ever in history. In history, we didn't do enough. We did all we do.
People's memories are so short. Remember when we had that map of all the politicians in the Democratic primary that actually were receiving donations, and they had to create an entirely separate one because Bernie overtook the map so much that they couldn't even show any other politician's name?
They had to do a secret another map.
Yeah, they had to do a whole nother map. Yeah. The people were hungry. And, the fact that people were going, oh, well, we couldn't, we had to just stick with Pelosi. It's like, why? Well, we had to do the government's, it's like we had to do the government's business. I'm like, so you're not willing to shoot the hostage? You're not willing to shut things down until people actually get saved? Here's my thing. And a lot of people will say, we should get Medicare for all. I say no, Medicare for all is a little too weak. I think we should nationalize the entire healthcare system. And then I would say, well, one of the reasons why we need to nationalize the healthcare system is because we went to over 15 million hospital beds to a little over 900,000 in the last few years. If we actually had a nationalized healthcare system, then we could have employed the government to rebuild all those hospital beds so we can actually have a larger apparatus to take care of people instead of decreasing the amount of hospital beds. But I digress by saying that we are literally dying, and we literally could have took it, saved a third of people during the COVID epidemic by having just at least a universal healthcare system, but they didn't want it.
Did somebody say Jimmy Dore? Somebody said Jimmy Dore?
Nobody said Jimmy Dore over here.
Jimmy?
Those haters are watching. Believe me, those haters are watching, and we all know we're talking about. Go ahead, JB. Go ahead, JB.
But my point is, if somebody truly is for fighting for something, they actually would fight for it. Because when push comes to shove, when it's time to fight, it's time to fight. Problem is that they made up all different kinds of excuses so they wouldn't actually fight for it. So that means they actually weren't bout it. Remember that phrase? Mm-hmm. So because they weren't bout it, then guess what? Then that was cap. Dead ass. I'm using what the kids say. So
what the kids say? Let me read this. This is the sprint of the show, Ryan. And now he points out, you tell me. Oh, let me read it first, then I'll say that. House Democrats are united, all right. They went from being united behind one corporate shield, Nancy Pelosi, to being united behind a new corporate shield, Hakeem Jeffries. The party is united behind serving their corporate donors and feeding the people empty platitudes. Now, you tell me, this is a perfect example. You tell me that them supporting and voting for Hakeem Jeffries is not moving to the right. The squad supporting the person who they have been saying, and it's all over TYT. This is their problem with Hakeem Jeffries. It's so much evidence where they already identified him as being worse than Nancy Pelosi to progressives years ago. And they still be doing it, like still have been doing it. And the TYTs, the majority, they still have been making content all the way up until now. He's the speaker, and they voted for him. And magically, where did it go? Where did it go? So you tell me how this is not moving right. Clearly moving right.
I got a better
one. The squad has attached himself now to Hakeem Jeffries as voting for him and supporting him. And white left media is just going along with it. That to me,
I got a better one. When have they ever been left? First vote for some of these. Nancy Pelosi was Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush. AOC's was a fund for ICE. Trump bills, defense bills. Like what makes them left besides them saying that they are? What makes them left? But besides them saying they are on the left, no. You are left in theory, because in action, a leftist don't bomb another country. We don't, you know what I'm saying? Leftists don't fucking sit here and give up on the kids in cages. That's something that a Marxist wouldn't do. What the fuck? You're bombing Africa, man. That's what a leftist. So that's what I'm asking. When have they ever been left? The thing is, they're trying to move the people to the right. They're trying to bring people. This is what a leftist mean. This is what a leftist mean. While we're bombing the shit out of other countries, while we're starving other nations, while we're doing this and that. This is what a leftist is.
That's why it's so important for RBN to be here.
In all reality, these people thinking it's like a mirage. They thinking that they think they walk into the pond, but these people pulling them into a pit of lava. They don't know it until they falling.
Hey, CJ.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you. Why are these people making excuses for the people who drive the getaway car? I didn't rob the bank. I just drove the getaway car. Why y'all coming after me? Right?
How am I supposed to know he was going to rob the bank? I was just sitting in the car. He got in. He told me to drove. I drove. Okay, so where's the money? Where's this motherfucker? Okay. You want me to? I can't get into all that. That's holding him accountable.
Snitches get stitches, man. I can't divulge that information.
Then they're gonna flip it on you like, oh, where was you at? What would you do? Why don't you become a police officer or a security guard at the bank? That's how they do it. When we criticize the politicians, why don't you run for office and see how bad it is? Bitch, I don't need to run for office and see how bad it is. I'm telling you how bad it is right now. I know the monsters that is in those closets that they call chambers.
I
know who those monsters are.
Why in the world are we constantly being told to accept and give difference to the people who are accessories to the crime? Why? Why are we constantly being told, well, the person who drove the getaway car, we got to be more kinder to them, even though, number one, they knew the robbery was taking place. Number two, they actually knew that their boys came in and robbed the joint. And then they jumped in the car and said, drive, motherfucker, drive. And then next thing you know, you're getting mad because we're looking at the accessory to the crime and going, nah, they're just as guilty. You're like, no, but they just drove the getaway car. They're like, yo, they're accessories to the crime. You're just as guilty. Why are you taking up for them? What do you have to gain from them not being convicted?
That money from the robbery. The money from the robbery.
See where I went with that?
They rob the left all the time. Like, they literally robbed you. AOC literally took money from poor people, grassroots funded money, and gave it to CIA agents to be reelected or help them in their parties and whatnot. And then said, oh, what was that? I think that was Kyle Kalinske and David Doyle. Oh, they only doing it to make sure that they have loyalty in the party. So when she want to go for a seat or something, they won't. Like, no. Actually, if y'all want to, if you reported on it, let's report on the whole thing. Let's report on them actually sending the money back and saying, fuck you. Nigga, you did it for nothing. You sold out to people for nothing, and they didn't even want you.
They didn't even want.
Pitiful.
Here's this tweet here. White savior complex, and Jordan Sheraton here. This is a good illustration.
I'll be right back.
Or one of the many illustrations you can find of his white savior complex. Let's read his quote. Go ask the people of Flint, Standing Rock, striking workers, or countless others I have covered on the ground if I'm there for the hard fight, or I'm a hipster liberal. What a joke. So what he's saying here, that he's supposed to get some sort of credit because of his job of being a journalist. Now, if he was there not in a job capacity helping these people, I could see his point about being there for the hard fight. But you being there as a journalist don't make you being a person that's fighting hard, sir. And you're doing it for a job to get paid. But when you have a white savior complex, you want credit for that. And that's here is the I just quoted that tweet that he had for when we covered him. And I do also have a video to quickly play on this same issue, just to quickly play maybe a minute of it here. Let's listen about white savior complex.
Oh, look how great I am. Here I am in Africa doing a great job. It's almost like they want to
White savior complex is a symptom of white supremacy. It's what was used to justify slavery, colonialism, and empire. Europeans didn't spend centuries pillaging the entire world for power and wealth. No. It was about rescuing billions of poor Black and brown people from a living hell of heathen savagery by bringing them. The white savior complex is, well, it's complex because so often it's about privilege.
Is it move? It's not moving for me. Let me refresh it 1 second. Here.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, let me refresh this.
Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Yeah, I may have too many windows open, and that this window has been sitting open. So, but all right. So now let me go to play it. There's a couple other receipts that I have to pass. So you saw those. I'm gonna get to those in just a second. We'll get out of here on time for our meeting. All right. So hopefully it plays okay now. Let's see. It looks like it is.
job. It's almost like they want to
Going to save us. In fact, white savior complex is a symptom of white supremacy.
Wow. When I put the sound on it goes off. Let's see.
Is it a plane? No, it's white savior.
Let's just listen anyway. Let's
Hate
just
to be
listen.
the party pooper, but that's not how it works. I do get it. Hidden Figures, Avatar, Django Unchained, The Help. If white people,
it's almost like
they're not about you. White
this black.
Anyway, I'll try to come back to that video because it's important video. Go ahead, JB. You wanted to chime in. Go ahead.
I can try to do it for you.
Oh, let me send you the link here.
Yeah.
Copy. I'm wondering if I had that same problem with that one before. All right, there you go. So yeah, if you could play that, sir.
Yes, sir. Let me
and
get it.
then I'll set up the next one. I got about 3 videos to play before we get out of here. So let me set the other ones up here.
All right. Hopefully it'll work for me.
Yeah, we'll see. If not, it's a side point. It's not one of the main points. I'll bring up the main point here.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right. Let me share screen. You see. All right.
What do you think of white savior?
Only doing it because of they want the recognition.
Oh.
No one asked you to do that. You go only doing it because
Yeah, I think it's the link. I think it's the link.
I think it's a link too. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a side point. I still explain what a white savior is, and we showed you the example from Jordan. Now, I must say this about Jordan. Because, and I think I want to go to his I want to go to his, let me share this. What is this? I want to go to his YouTube so you can see. Now, I must say, ever since one of the last sort of encounters we've had with him, he's improved his content. And some of the people that has taken over for him, the Ron Paclones, they've been doing a good job. The Kim Brown was already working there before he took this hiatus. But it feels like at least he's heard some of the criticism from RBN and others, and he's making an attempt at least on the channel. And this is Z. I think that's Z, and Ron Paclone is another one that's kind of helping out. So they have been doing a better job. You can see Shahid right there. That was a guest brought on by Ron Paclone. And there's another one. Chuck Modi did something with Kim Brown. So, like I said, giving Status Quo and Jordan credit because it almost feels like he heard the criticism and he has made a little bit. Oops, where am I at? Little bit of an adjustment. So I do want to, give him that sort of credit. It feels like he made a little bit of adjustment to sort of the criticism. All right, so let's get to the next person I kind of wanted to analyze. I got a couple of videos here. The first one I want to analyze is the Humanist Report, for example. And I covered this video before, and let's just play a little bit of it. I think it's right here. To see, and the question I asked in the question here too, this is the reason why I thought maybe they had moved to the right instead of us moving forward, because it felt like in this video I'm going to play here, it feels like Mike was a lot more radical before, and I'll just play a snippet of him speaking so
Bernie
you can
Sanders
get what I'm saying here. Let's play it.
With Tom Perez and his bullshit warmed over corporatist agenda, which just got the Democratic Party wiped out from coast to coast. That's not happening. I'm not going to support a corporatist Democrat because Bernie Sanders stands next to him. In fact, Bernie Sanders told us a year ago that we shouldn't listen to him. That's what Bernie Sanders said. So how do you feel about this unity tour with the Democrats?
Yeah, if Bernie Sanders does something, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt more so than other politicians, but there's absolutely no way I can rationalize this because Bernie Sanders has repeatedly lambasted Democrats. He said they need to reform X, they need to reform Y, Z, but he's decided to imply that we should unify behind the Democratic Party before they've done anything to reform. And in fact, they just gave us the middle finger. I
think there's something going on with Twitter.
Yeah, there goes the glitchiness again. But you heard what he was saying, the critique he had for the Democratic Party. Like, I'm not doing that. So this is what I meant, Rome. This is why I thought they regressed, because some of their old content, they do seem a little more radical. But it could also be what you said, is that we kept moving. Like, even though he was radical here, in this, in sort of like what he's willing to do, and maybe that's what we're talking about, and how far they were willing to go.
Yeah, he wasn't willing.
Like
he wasn't willing.
Go ahead.
No matter what his critique was, he's not willing to actually leave the Democratic Party or tell his audience to leave the Democratic Party. So whatever his critique was, it falls on deaf ears because, nigga, you ain't gonna do nothing about it. You ain't gonna really hold Bernie Sanders accountable by turning your audience against him. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, Bernie Sanders is selling out. He's selling out to these corporates. Go on his Twitter and internet bully his old ass. None of that.
Yeah.
None of that. So it's and like JB said before I hopped on, and I said this before, it's easy to sound like a leftist. It's easy to
the
sound
original
like
name.
It's easy to sound like revolutionary when these are the people that that's ahead of us. When Trump is in office or wherever the fuck, like, man, anybody can say that. Anybody could have said that shit. Anybody, David Pacman could have said that shit. But what is he going to do at the end of the day? He's going to tell his audience to be good little fucking pawns and vote and give you money.
Let's listen to Kyle Kulinski talk here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues, and I see this, it's not even that they're not as far left as us. That's not the issue. Is that they're not even holding politicians accountable to even their own metrics. So then it's like, okay, so you guys don't want to go as far left as us. Okay, but you guys want all these different things, and these progressives aren't even going according to your metrics, and you're still making excuses for them.
Because
it's like When are you going to say enough is enough? Like, for instance, some of y'all are like, oh, we just need Medicare for all. Okay, we want to be able to have legalization of marijuana. Okay, you guys want to have, end of drug wars, things like that. Okay, great, fine. Why aren't you so willing to hold them to an account even by your own metrics? That's the problem. And the thing is that they're like, oh, well, this is the best we got. And I'm like, but so you're willing to just lay down and accept that? You're just willing to lay down for these people who don't even push for a public option? They just left that by the wayside. Like, y'all, the progressives even allow Biden to move to the right on the public option, and he's not even talking about it no more, and nobody says a word?
When they got elected, they even stopped tweeting about, fuck saying it, they even stopped tweeting about Medicare for all. As soon as they got elected, they was like, shit.
Yeah, it's like, what? It's like, come on, man. At least you guys don't even have to be as far left as us, but at least hold the politicians accountable to your own metrics, because then y'all just looking like y'all just saying this just to sound good to us so that we would accept your premise so that we can stay within the Democratic Party. And since now we're like, nah, we're not accepting that BS. Now you guys are criticizing us and calling us secret right wingers when you guys sound like the secret right winger.
Ain't no secret about it. They support right wing policies. They support bombing Yemen. They support the rape of Haiti. Like, there is nothing left about these people. There is nothing left about these people, and all that secret right wing. That shit is nothing but projection. My nigga, you voted for Jim Crow Joe. You talk about secret white wing. Nigga, what? You know how many people you got killed in just the last 2 or 3 years? Your vote killed people. You know that, right? There's actions and reactions and consequences for those actions. And the consequences is us calling y'all the fuck out. Or somebody else doing something about it. I feel like y'all should be held accountable in another way. And you know what? It's so funny because these motherfuckers will say, stop the infighting. There is no infighting. You guys not on the fucking left. I'm just calling you out because you a bitch. I'm just calling. We talk shit about politicians. Stop the infighting. They are on our side. Who's on our side? What you want? Okay, name a policy that helped my community, just my community itself. I live in a Democratic ran community. Name something, anything. We ain't even gonna go national. Name something. What have we gotten in the time that you got what you got? Y'all got what y'all got it, and we see that not only the Justice Democrat strategy is a failed strategy, but they turned down our strategy, which was a great strategy. Well, it wasn't even our strategy. It was DSA strategy. They turned it down and said, fuck that. And now we seeing it working. And we like, oh yeah, we calling y'all motherfuckers out. And rightfully so. Y'all are the reason people are dead. Politicians, the anti-forced to vote people, all of you people making bots to make people go against healthcare. You people are the reason people are dead. Yeah. You are a psychopath. You take up for politicians over people's lives. And what was so funny is, I remember in the middle of the pandemic, when Joe Biden was like, yeah, I ain't giving y'all niggas no more money. AOC was like, I'm gonna work out something with him. We're gonna get you something. And the next thing you know, I see this little flyer is like black and purple or some shit like that. And they was funding funerals. They was giving you up to like $5,000 to $10,000 on your funeral. So you're not gonna pay a motherfucker to stay alive, but you will. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
That's wild, man.
Yeah. All right. So let's. Oh, this is I haven't even played this video yet. I was looking at
the original name, the working name for Justice Democrats when I co-founded it was the Left Tea Party. Now we eventually settled on Justice Democrats, but the actual idea in its genesis was, let's create a left Tea Party. The original name, the working name for Justice Democrats when
Left Tea Party. That's what he wanted, and they sold that to us. And now that it's not materialized, they're sticking with it, and we're saying we're done. And that's
look how weak Kyle is as a leader, man. Look how weak he is as a leader. They took his shit. They bullied that nigga out his own group, and he threw his hands up and said, "Well, there's nothing I can do about it." Bitch ass nigga. I wish a nigga would try to take over the Care Party. What? What's up, son?
And then let me show you this video. So we're going to cover a couple of them in this video. So here is Rational National and Mike Figueredo and the Serfs. So we're covering all, these three white media figures all in one video. Listen to, now this is what they're deciding to latch to. And this is the reason why we're seeing them move right, or at least they appear to be moving right. Let's listen. If this plays, this may not play. Yeah, I think it's a Twitter thing here. If it doesn't play,
yeah, it's probably a Twitter glitch.
Yeah, I think it's a Twitter thing. I can play this on. I can play this on. I can play this on YouTube because it is on YouTube, but I would rather play it here. So let's see if it works, because I have some other things to show on Twitter. Yeah, I swear sometimes I feel like they do this because they know we're streaming, but we'll see. I'm not joking. We might think that
conspiracy.
Not happening.
Question comes from Belly Bean, and they ask, was the squad correct with their votes on the railroad strike?
They worked with the unions to like, so initially I thought it was dumb like everybody else, but then I was reading from labor reporters, not just like, random people like Jonah Furman, who is a great labor reporter. He said that the reason they voted that way is because unions worked, like told them basically to, the idea was they wanted to put up this amendment to add sick days to the Senate, and to do that it has to pass in the House. So the idea was for them to vote for it. Now you could argue, well, then why didn't Rashida Tlaib vote with it? And I think I think in terms of strategy, she was correct not to vote with it. But apparently the other members, that's why they voted that way. It isn't to say it was a good strategy or defensive, it's just to explain why.
Man, post this lying ass cracker.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is he even speaking on American politics anyway? And why the fuck is you lying to your American audience? The union said no such thing, even all over Twitter. The union members, we talked to these people, man. Interviewed some of them. DM'd. We can show you receipts. They ain't say shit about signing that damn bill. They was mad as hell that y'all split up the sick days and gave them less of what they was asking for the first time. Now, the union heads, the union reps, the same people that is the reason why they are in that position today. Yes, they might have said something like that, but the workers said no such thing.
Why are they listening to those people?
These people are.
Why are they listening to those people?
These people they don't want to listen to the workers. They don't listen to the workers. They listen to he's telling us word from another powerful person.
Sabby even had rail workers actual rail workers on her channel to actually talk about it, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we weren't down for that. We actually wanted, they actually, a strike would have been the last resort, but they were willing to go to that last resort in order to get what they wanted, because it's not fair that they didn't get those sick days." So
you know what, JB, take away my rights to strike. Fuck it, just take away my sick days. Take away my rights to strike. Yeah, that bill right there, sign it. What motherfucker would say some dumb shit like that?
Unless he's part of the whole game of trying to give them cover, which the union is known to do that. They just did that when they tried to do that so-called union rally, when it really was just union leadership doing that rally so the squad can show up and be like, look, we're doing something for, and it literally, once that was over, they walked away. They wasn't even there like 30 minutes. That was all for show. But let's finish the video and see what else they say here. Is this the right one? Yeah.
Have you seen the Shama Sawant versus
Ryan Grim debate
on this?
a second here. Oh, that is it. My bad.
Yeah.
I thought I was looking at it, but let's listen.
No, it got pretty down to the core at it. They knew going into this, a lot of the people, like, not the union, you're totally right. Everything you just said is 100% correct. It's what they were asking the squad to do. But this was a DOA, and they should have recognized it as such. There was no way that this was not going to die in the Senate. And it's one of those things like, so what are the two options? A, you don't vote for it, and you hope that enough of you have a strong enough contingent to shut it down, period, because that's what you'd have to do, so it doesn't even go to the Senate. Or you do it that way, knowing full well that it'll die in the Senate, but at least you tried to add that 5-day tack on, is the other problem. But it's weird because it's one of those things, like a union, like anything else, it is fallible. It's human. And the leaders of a union could be wanting or saying things that are not directly in the interest of all the workers, at which point it's up to the people within the union to be able to say, we have to change our management because the union heads are not in our interest. But there's a lot of people within the union who are very upset about what happened because they thought they should have just not voted for it at all. So, and from a political
Nigga, stop
standpoint,
beating around the bush and tell that nigga he's wrong. Why would you tell him? Hold on, bro. You see this bullshit? You see what's, oh, you're 100% correct, but it might be some people in the union that's actually like, because you know the workers then say, make me powerless, take my powers away, take my sick days during the holidays. During the holidays, take my striking power away. Please, I don't need these things. We don't use these things. Tell the fucking truth, you fucking coward.
These white capitalists trying to convince us that workers will sell themselves out. That's what these white capitalists like Ryan Grim are trying to convince us, that workers are telling people, the professional managerial class, you call them AOC, to tell them to go vote against their interests. That's what they're trying to convince us of, and it's so disgusting. But to me, this is another example. You can see David Doe, you see the Surf, and this is the person that Nick keeps calling the Smurf, but it's the Surf in the top right-hand corner. And then Mike Figueredo from the Humanist Report. He may have a Latin or Spanish last name, but he's part of this same white media sphere. And let's listen to what he says.
I bet if they come, I bet Brett, if they come for the fucking, if they come for his nationality, he is side with the whites quick as hell. What? I'm not. My name is Michael fucking Williams. So wherever fucking Washington, the white person's last name is.
Let's listen. Okay, I think this is where because we want to hear Mike, because listen to what he says about this vote.
At which case, a lot of people will be mad because it's like, whoa, you went against what the union asked for. And in the other direction, they do what they did, and everyone is still like, well, what the fuck? But it just died and they got nothing. And now it's over. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah, there's no winning in this situation, honestly. But yeah, I think that there is a real difference between doing what the union bosses want and doing what the union workers want. Because union bosses aren't infallible. Like, they're good. Like, listening to them isn't necessarily bad, but in this instance, it was very clear that a majority of the workers did not want this deal. So if I were in Congress, I would have rejected it. Because again, as you said, Lance, like the whole thing was DOA. Like, we all knew that this was going to fail anyway. So to just cast that vote in solidarity with workers, I think that would have been a really good symbolic victory. That being said, though, I think that it's not necessarily like a cancelable offense of the squad.
No.
I think that the problem is that the squad just isn't very politically savvy, and Democrats.
Hold on, pause this, bro. Because you see how these people just usher in fascism with a smile, so smooth. You don't even see, you don't even feel it. When the government is dealing with some shit like taking away rights from workers, that is fascism. When the government and the corporations are colliding together to work against the people. You're telling me that's not cancelable? That's not a cancelable offense?
Wait, what? What in freshly baked hell was that? Talking about it's not a cancelable offense. They literally went against the workers.
It's always that bad. It's always
That's what corporate oligarchs do. And you're sitting there telling me that's not a cancelable offense. Bro, are you looking at the same things that we are? Like hold up. Okay, you're a gay man, just like me, and you're saying, and if somebody did something homophobic to those of us in the gay community, would you say, oh yeah, that's a cancelable offense if they did something against us? You have people who say they're allies to the workers, and they did something completely anti-worker, worker-phobic, and you're saying it's not a cancelable offense?
No, that is straight up fascist. It's straight up fascism.
Mike, come on, bro. That use your power of reason, my guy. They literally shafted the workers, bro. I want you to look deep into your heart and tell the workers that what they did, oh, you shouldn't cancel them, even though they screwed you over.
For life.
I want you to look those rail workers in their eyes, in their round little faces, and tell them you shouldn't cancel them, even though they screwed you over. Mike, tell them that. Tell them that to their face, and tell me whether or not they don't cuss you out.
Tell me how many packs of beans,
I'm sorry,
sweet peas you need on your motherfucking face after you tell a worker that shit. Go ahead, go talk to these railroad workers. They probably tie your ass and leave you on that motherfucker.
Hey, listen, fellas. We're actually going longer than we thought. It's almost time for our meeting. I just put the link to the meeting to join. And I know Sabby and Nick may be watching, but let me put the link. We can do it on StreamYard since the three of us are already here. But there's another link. So I put it in the Twitter DM, Rome and JB, so we know which one is which. So we're gonna wind this down. We got to read some super chats. We got to read a couple of comments before we get out. But let's wind this down. So Nick and Sabby, if you're watching, we're running a few minutes late, but we will be there. I put the link in the chat, but we're running a few minutes late. So go ahead, JB, if you want to read some of these super chats, sir. Or I put a couple comments.
Yep. Yeah, I got you. Okay, so that just had me. That threw me for a tizzy. All right, let's look at this. Luca, thank you so much for the super chat. It says RBN is an oasis in the YouTube wasteland. The RBN left is my kind of left. Solidarity. Thank you, Luca. Appreciate it very much. Child of God said, "How is staying in the on the plantation revolutionary?" I started this. I was like, absolutely. Why are we going to stay on the plantation? Why are we going to have some other person who's on the plantation that is in the house while we're out there on the field and they're telling us, "Hey, look, don't be so glum, chum. Everything's good. We're actually having it good inside the house." And you're like, "But we're out in the field." Oh, well, it's better than being out there with nothing. Yeah. Thank you to Salty Granny.
We're gonna help you. We're gonna help you. We're gonna help you. We're gonna get you guys this and that. And all you look in our house. They ain't even got curtains up. They ain't hiding no shame. They eating. They partying. And y'all just out there like humming Negro fucking spirituals and shit. And they in there eating
a ham sandwich. They're in there eating a ham sandwich, and we're out here picking cotton in the heat. On that day old bread. Anyway, wade in the water. Okay, so Salty Granny says, "Stop eating in front of me, JP." Sorry. I'm starving to death on this feeding tube. How rude. Oh, I'm sorry. Love to you, Salty Granny. All right. Calvin says, "Love you guys. Everyone on that cover picture had me fooled. Not anymore. Thank you so much." Mark Pfeiffer says Crystal Avalise is the worst offender. This is one of the people who actually said that who would you rather fight? Would you rather fight Trump or Biden? And he said, I would rather vote Biden. Crystal Avalise is also a Canadian telling us that we should have voted for Biden. Crystal Avalise, I'm sorry, but you were wrong. Martin says, Martin says, take PAC money, donor money, insider government trading out of politics. Maybe we get something done. Politician owned. Thank you so much. Cool Blue says they also try to get people to vote for the Democrats. Yep. Thank you so much. That includes Marianne Williamson when she had that whole fiasco. Beezus Quimby says, just saw JB's popcorn and grapes analogy. Funny and also effing true. Put that bit in your tight 5 and get on stage, JB. I'll try. Oh man, that popcorn is chewy too. I popped it last night. Anyway, Kara Sumaru says, Rome, when are you running for office?
Never. The only time if y'all don't want me to run for office, I'm telling you guys, because it's either I'm going to be killed or compromised. There is no other way, you know. And I know you guys, you should go local and whatnot. Okay, this local guy, this local mayor or whatever the fuck, he making all this noise. He's saying he's a fucking communist. You don't think the government is going to come and kill me? We need a revolution in order for somebody like me to even think about running for. And I don't even want power. My heart is way too dark for political power. Like, I would be better off running some type of branch of a military or some shit like that. But my heart is way too dark to hold power. I will literally get a lot of people whacked, like for no reason.
Yeah, we are never, ever, ever running for office together. Simon Reynolds,
for super sticker.
Thanks for the super sticker, Simon Reynolds. I almost said Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry. Chris Deason says Jordan uses his role as a journalist as an excuse to not take positions when it's convenient.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I was just agreeing. That is spot.
That's MSNBC. That's MSNBC strategy of we don't have a side. We're just we're just journalists. We're just picking apart the thing. But when it's crunch time, they like, fuck Trump, fuck the Republicans, fuck this, fuck that. They picking sides, you know what I'm saying? And then when you're like, oh no, I thought you weren't this and that. Like, oh no, I'm just a journalist, but I can express how I feel about these. No, motherfucker. We all got a side. We all have a bias, and RBN have a bias too. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is lying to you, man. Everybody, I'm just a journalist. I don't actually have any thoughts on this bullshit. All journalists should have. That should be the main thing you should have is thoughts on these things, and where do you stand in between? Okay, so Flint got poisoned.
The person got all the information, don't have an opinion. That's what they're trying to tell.
That's crazy.
The person who collected all the information don't have an opinion. Go ahead.
What is you doing then? What is your what? And I know that probably legally you probably can't say that you have a position or you right wing or left wing, but who gives a fuck? Who's gonna actually obey or uphold those laws? Get the fuck on, y'all niggas. All y'all niggas is Democrats. At the end of the day, you're gonna ride that wave of being a leftist. Or, oh look, I'm strong. I can call them out. But when it's crunch time, when it's time to vote, you look over there to the right and you see this motherfucker scaring the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? He's saying all kind of scary right wing shit, and you get scared and you run to the Democrats every fucking time and never fail. And then when Democrats get in office, they start doing the crazy shit that the Republicans said that they was going to do, like build a fucking wall. Remember that? When y'all was so mad about Trump building the fucking wall, Joe Biden finished it. Kids in cages, we're doing the same thing and more. Deported more people than Donald Trump at this moment. So, yeah, fuck y'all. Fuck all y'all.
Okay. So Chris ends with, but then openly takes positions, not as a journalist, when it's convenient, just like Ryan Grimm. Woo! Let's go. Chris also continues, says Jordan outwardly taking the position of not leaving the Democratic Party is an example. If you were a journalist and according to his standards can't take a position, we shouldn't know that about him. Chris also says they're journalists until they need to work for the establishment. Like Chappelle says, white gays are gays until they need to be white. That yeah, that's bars.
That's nitty gritty, but
that's nitty gritty.
Can you go back to the comment before this one?
This one.
Back one more. Like, how is you not taking a position? Like, dude, you literally talk to people who's been poisoned, and then told these people, yeah, vote for the Democratic Party, even though the motherfucker who poisoned you, you know, he stood up for Biden, and they all worked together. What, bro? You saw Obama come there, drink the water, and was like, "Oh, I ate paint chips when I was a fucking kid. What's wrong with a little fucking dirty water?" You don't have a stance on that. You ain't gonna say, "Hey, that's some fucked up shit." You can't even say that, and you're not even leaving the Democratic Party after them neglecting to at least save half or a quarter of the million lives that we had lost in a year, in the last year. It says a lot about your character. It says a lot about you. It says that everything that you do, you can't be taken serious. All this journalism that you are doing is for nothing. It's for nothing. You're not actually going to help people. You shooting poverty porn.
Yeah.
And you go home and get money off that content. That's it. You don't, I help people out in Flint. I took water there. Well, keep on doing it. Keep doing it until they got clean water coming out of their faucets. Do something with your journalism besides push people into parties. Push people into organizations or whatever the fuck. But this ain't gonna do it. But yeah. You got a stance. It's with the Democratic
Party. Or is that
you just don't want to tell it?
Yeah, there's more. Okay, so
you don't want to tell us you're a white supremacist.
So Fireface says, "Evening RBN, just tuned in tonight. Love your work and project. Did you know that Vaush is TYT's latest?"
No.
I don't know Vaush enough to even.
No, they corrected it. He's not hired. I'm pretty sure he made just as much money as TYT on his own.
Yeah.
What's the next one? Let's get through these because they're waiting in the other meeting room. So let's get through these here.
Tom, thank you for the super sticker, Tom Robbins. Fireface says, "Shoot, I don't want to spread misinformation. I may have misspoke there. Vaush and TYT. Thank you, chat.
Okay.
Mea culpa.
Somebody corrected him. Yeah.
Okay. And then CBC Jamrock says, INN new Chank video funny. LOL.
Oh yeah.
Wow, you got through this pretty quick.
Yeah,
ahead,
and then I'm just checking on Rockfin.
Yeah, you might have.
We don't have any. Because of due to the sake of time, I really can't read anything on Rockfin unless it's a tip on Rockfin. Apologies to all of you guys, but thanks for all the comments on Rockfin. But that pretty much is it.
I got one more. No, I don't give a fuck what nigga agree with you with. Y'all are trying to get me killed. Do you not? Do y'all not hear me? Imagine me talking to these fucking politicians. No, I'm not that type of guy. I am better off on the ground. I will be killed, or I will be compromised. Look, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go. If I run, I win. I'm gonna go into those chambers and I'm gonna see the monsters for who they truly are, and then I'm gonna be like, holy fuck. Do I fight or do I back down? And when I'm seeing the power that is really held in front of me, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, fuck that. That's what a lot of people do. AOC did it, and then et cetera, et cetera. They might wave enough money in front of me to be like, yeah, fuck all these niggas. Anybody can be compromised. And my heart is too dark for political power. Please take that in consideration that I will do some shady shit. Like I will do some shady shit. I might do good. Yes, I'm a communist. We're gonna get healthcare, housing, and shit like that. But I will just take my anger out on a lot of fucking people for no reason. Like, I mean, there is a reason behind it. But if they're getting their just due and whatnot, I probably will overdo it with the prisons. I'll probably bring back gulags and fucking man, whatever. My heart's too dark for that bullshit. I don't need power. I need the people to take over and do it them damn selves. Y'all can run for that shit. I'm good.
Yeah. So due to the sake of time, Rome, what do you have coming up in the near future? What you got going on?
Oh shit. Tour for the Poor. We're doing 3 cities one day. My birthday, January 16th. We're doing Washington, D.C., Detroit, Michigan, and Buffalo, New York. If y'all are out there, I need your guys' help. I need more boots on the ground. We need way more boots on the ground, and I need somebody to hit me up right now. DM me on Twitter, Unholy Rome. The E is a 3. DM me. My DMs are open. Give me a number. If you are in one of those 3 cities, hit me up so we can get out here. We can help the people. It's about to be another drop in the weather. And we want to make sure we're there before people freeze to death again in the goddamn streets.
All right, perfect. What I have going on, I will be having on Awkward this Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys would like to, you guys can actually go to my channel. It's going to be linked in the chat as well. And I'll be talking to him. This Saturday, I'll also be talking to Kit Cabello from Heartlands Media. We're going to have a very good conversation, especially regarding Chicago politics. I cannot wait to actually talk about these things with both of them. And yeah, so also I'll be doing the readings for Dirty Truth by Michael Parenti, as well as the readings for Assata Shakur's autobiography. And I'll be putting it out tonight. So be stay tuned for that. CJ?
All right. And then for me, Nick and CJ will be here tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of stuff we haven't been able to get to because of Kevin McCarthy shit and all the other shit lib boutique white leftist bullshit that went on. So we're going to go ahead and get out. Hey, JB and Rome, if you back out of this, hit the back button. You'll see the list of the meeting, and you can just click the meeting. Sabby and Nick are already there, and I'm coming over. So, all right, everyone, thank you for joining. Nick and CJ tomorrow. Make sure you check out Tour for the Poor upcoming event, January 16th, and JB show on Tuesday. We are out.